Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pixels and Points. I'm Matt Nelson, Digital Media Director at Red Rock, and with me is...
I'm Susie Brown, Media Planner and Buyer here at Red Rock.
All right, we have a couple big stories over the past week or so. Biggest one, we'll just start off, dive into it first. It's a big one. We have the Google upgrades its search engine with AI overviews and risks revenue drain for media companies. Now, this story is about a huge thing that Google just introduced, and if you go on search right now, you could probably see it. It's one of those, it's an AI response to whatever your search question is, and if you can bring one of those up for me real quick. For the Google one, we did a quick little search. It's going to be that little, if you can make it bigger.
Yep, just moving it over.
All right. Yeah, so here's the AI overview. And what it is it actually will appear after sponsored results, but it'll appear before organic results. So what people are worried about is that this AI overview is going to be sucking information from the organic search results, and Google's going to make its own answer right there for them. So people aren't going to go, it's going to decrease organic searching for people who own websites who are news heavy or content heavy. For example, this is just a quick question like how to do search advertising. They'll give you a whole bunch of answers about how to do it, but it's going to put people who are paying to be above it, and then it's going to put organic below. So it's going to push people to make sure that their stuff is paid. That's why people think that it's a money grab. On the other side, I have where it's going to decrease a bunch of people's like their monetization on their own site is what's going to
right, like your own organic search, because I think people are going to use the AI instead.
People are going to have to pay for anything having to do with anything. For example, yesterday I did a search about to see how this would answer. It was asking a car question about how to fix a specific problem, or like what steps do I need to go through to diagnose this issue on the car. Mm-hmm. And the AI, and there, of course, there's no sponsored results on that search. So the AI overview came up first and talked about take this step, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, go da 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 da. And then in the AI overview, it will have it'll show you like some of the organic websites that it suggests you go to. Mm-hmm. But with all the answers right there that it got from those organic websites, people are pretty mad that they're saying that you're just plagiarizing what's on our sites and putting it on your own. So,
mm-hmm. And then they're losing that click through for someone going through and actually going to that site. So
yeah,
all that monetization is gone.
It's a big fight right now for protecting your content against AI, but you got to think about it. The other side, it's somebody can just read your content and put it on their own site in their own words, and that's not copyright. It's just hard. It's going to be a hard case to sell for AI.
Yeah, it's definitely a gray area because it's just it's doing what AI does, right? Taking the work off of, the human element. So just like you were saying, any person could go in, read an article, summarize it, but it's just going to do it for us. So to me, it seems totally okay, but gray, very gray area.
And I see it really coming into effect, and where it's going to hurt the most is going to be, of course, news, but like Reddit and Quora and stuff where people would go in and ask a question and want people to answer it. Like you're just going to ask a question on Google search and it's going to answer it. Now, on the other side, Bing has had something like this for a while, but this is big news for Google because it has 90% market share in the search industry. Your dog can open a door. That's the best. But on Bing, if you want to switch over to Bing, we can just show people what the competition has already had in place. And I actually like its setup a little bit better. It's a little bit less invasive than Google's AI, if you want to switch over to that.
Yep, hang on.
So this is what's called Bing's Copilot. What you do is up at the top is where you would normally come in and you would hit your search and your search results would come back. And their AI response is not going to be on this main page. Their AI response is going to be on the Copilot section. So you actually have to physically click on another tab, and then this will come up. And and it'll answer your question. It's a lot closer to true chat GPT kind of layout to where you can just ask a question, it'll answer it. And there's other things with chat GPT where you have designer and all the other AI assistants on the right. It's a little bit better contained, I think, than the Google one. I feel like the Google one's just going to be really invasive. And right now it's kind of limited to where it is. It doesn't show up with every search right now, but I can definitely see where it will. So I'm a little apprehensive on that, where it's going to be, you're going to search for, best barbecue near me, and the AI generator is going to pop in and say, well, you have some great stuff around you. I would suggest you look at this one, this one, this one, this one. And it's going to say its own things. And if you're not advertising, you're going to be below that. So you have to be a sponsored search on there when people are searching for, best restaurant near me, best Italian, or something like that.
Right. When you think about it, how many people are going to scroll past that AI section on Google, because once you get there, it's kind of everything, all the work's done for you.
So we'll just have to see as it goes on. Honestly, it's brand new to them, and they're probably going to make changes. I do like that on Bing, you can actually go to the Copilot and have a conversation going back and forth. On the Google AI generator, I don't think that that's an option to keep on asking like a follow-up question. It's just it's answered, go back down. On the Google Copilot, you can see where you can actually have a conversation with it, and it'll be a little bit more responsive to what you want, rather than just like, here's the answer, and you're like, that's not quite what I wanted.
Right. It's a little more, like you were saying, going back and forth, having that conversation, where the Google AI really is just a search result. Like, here you go, do with it what you will.
Yeah. So this is like a first step in a brave new world of search that people were worried about when AI was starting to come up. It's starting to become a little bit more invasive, and we'll have to just plan accordingly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if within a year we have ads within the AI generated response. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you have to click that in your ad campaign setup to where you want to be part of the AI generative response, or use my ad to generate a new ad based on whatever somebody's searching.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they already have that with a lot of ad managers, where it's going to be, they suggest, different headlines, different descriptions. The AI generates it based on your website and what your keywords are. It already just go ahead and it pops up some auto-generated stuff. So I can see where you just some people are just going to hand over everything to the Google AI to generate the content, like the words and
start to finish.
Yeah, especially for search. So we'll see. It's
interesting. Yeah, I can't really see a situation where you wouldn't want to be included with the AI as well, right?
I don't think it's going away. Yeah. It's going to stay, at least in some form. I don't know if it's going to stay with AI overview, but we'll see.
Very cool.
All right.
Whole new world.
I'm excited about yours.
Yes. So today, let me pull it up. I brought an article talking all about traditional media, if I can find it. So this week, big week in traditional TV, because it was Upfront week. So I found an article just kind of overviewing everything that happened this week, big takeaways. Biggest thing that, from working in traditional media for so long, back in the day, the Upfronts were all about top 4 networks, right? And they're going to tell you their new fall schedule, right? All the new programs. This was very different year because obviously the landscape has changed so much. So there were sales presentations from Netflix and Amazon, and that was the first time ever this year. And YouTube was there, but they've been there 3 years now. So it's all the streamers are coming into play. And basically Upfronts, it's about $20 billion in upfront commitments from advertisers that all these guys are in there to fight for. So it was Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, and then of course, NBC, Disney, ABC, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and YouTube and Fox. So a lot more presentations than kind of used to going through. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was Amazon's star power. So it seems like they're spending the most money to get a chunk of this $20 billion. So all their new programming, they had Reese Witherspoon, Will Ferrell, Jake Gyllenhaal, that all have new programming. So they have a bunch of like, not a lot of new, there wasn't a lot of new scripted programming, but a lot of reboots. So they're going to have a Legally Blonde prequel, and that's why Reese Witherspoon was there, which I'll watch. And then they'll have a new Tomb Raider. They're going to have a Roadhouse series, a new Spider-Man, and then Pop Culture Jeopardy. So they're really trying to push their new series kind of, and all the money and stars they have behind it.
I don't understand how a movie like Legally Blonde has a prequel.
I know. I guess she's like in high school. She becomes blonde. I don't know.
This is like, I guess it's in high school. Okay. But then why Reese Witherspoon wouldn't be in it? She's just in there.
Right. I think she was just there for the presentation, and she
might be like a narrator.
She's a producer, right? Yeah, and she had the pink suit on and the whole deal.
She's got it. Yep.
Right. So that looked good, but then there are a bunch of others. So NBC's presentation was all about kind of their early 2000s programming and throwing back to it. So they're really pushing Kelly Clarkson, and they have a new Reba McEntire sitcom. And then they were pushing Snoop Dogg because he is hosting the Olympics for them this year.
Hey, I'm excited for that. That was they took a little bit. I wouldn't say they took a risk. I mean, it was it was a great idea last.
He's mainstream now, but yeah.
Well, I mean, when he was doing it with Kevin Hart, that was fantastic.
Oh, that was so funny.
I'm looking forward to having him on there and seeing him. I just don't know, are they going to only have like a 30-minute segment where he just like kind of gives highlights or his own highlights?
From what I saw, yeah, he's going to have his own like late night. You know, there used to be like Bob Costas had the show after the Olympics. I think he's going to be doing that.
All right. Well, no matter what, it's going to be fun.
It'll be fun. But yeah, so that was NBC. Then Fox was all about their owned content. So like Fox produced programs, like they're kind of trying to create their walled garden. Like you only get our programs here, and this is it. And then we're not going to sell our programming to anybody else, and we're not going to buy it from anybody else. So that was kind of
that's what a lot of the networks are doing, is that they're not making content and selling it to anybody else. They're either the producer or a co-producer on it, so it's theirs.
Yep.
They're keeping it now. Like before, it was, back in the 90s, the early 2000s, all the content was you'd have to sell your show to a network and have them buy it.
While exactly.
Now most of the shows are, So, yeah.
So yep, that was Fox. And then what else? We had Disney and ABC. They seem to have, because it's Disney, ABC, FX, they've got so much content across so many different kind of networks and genres that the takeaway was their presentation was all over the place and too much. So I think they've got a good problem because they have all of this to sell, but they're not really streamlined about how to sell it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Going back one point back, I read over this article too, and what I thought was interesting is that on the animation front for Fox, where they have shows, where Family Guy's there, they pointed out that it looks like Disney might be taking some of the comedies that may not be doing so well in the ratings, but are pricier, and putting on as one of the platforms, like originals, like putting it on Disney as an original or something like that. And I'm just like, I just thought that sounds like they're just putting it out to die. So I was like, it costs a lot. Why would you take it off like the biggest platform and put it on the other part and saying that it's an original? Is it just trying to hide its ratings at that point? Or I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't seem to make sense, but I didn't realize, because they said Family Guy and Simpsons is actually owned by Disney, which I didn't realize. So yeah, and I guess they said the contract's up next year. So it could be, I don't know, some kind of play for negotiation, or,
they're just going to move
who's going to have it next year.
Disney only platform, which...
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're almost there.
Yeah. I mean, you can already get all the shows on Disney and watch it. So, I mean, sounds good. Anything else?
Let's see. Next was Warner Brothers and Discovery. They were pushing a lot about film, and that's kind of the seventh takeaway too. So they're pushing all of their, theatrical release movies that they've produced, like Mad Max and Dune 2 and Wonka, just kind of showing their star power, production power. But then their main focus was also pushing on a lot of their linear networks. So they were the only presentation that actually had ad salespeople come up and give the presentation versus the creatives. So probably not as exciting a presentation, but their focus is their bread and butter. Like, we started selling our linear networks. That's what we're going to keep focusing on.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest points of this whole thing was that a lot of them were pointing out new things that are like sequels or prequels or remakes, and there's not a ton of new content, and that has to do a lot with they were saying that it's like the writers' strike that happened last year. They only got like 13 new shows, and they're planning on like 22 this year or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was over 20, but
it was 22, and they're usually every year. What they said was it's a 25 shows, so they're trying to get back in that rhythm. But I was just like, I'm not seeing anything that's like new.
The only, what they had said, there were no really in the presentations like any original programming featured at all. And the only, I guess, kind of scripted show returning that anyone did feature was The Bear on FX. And everything else was, here's our movies, right? Like we were talking about, here's all our sports programming. Obviously the big money grabs, but it's just very, very different from how it used to be. And I don't know if it's still the writer's strike. I think it might be an excuse, right? It's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, one of the newer, the only ones that I saw that were like the new shows was the Reba show is new with Happy Ending or Happy Place.
Yeah, that was cute.
And I was looking at some of the other shows, and I was like, I didn't hear anything about Dr. Odyssey.
I was scrolling; they're all at the bottom.
Is that a doctor on a cruise ship?
Yep.
You can scroll on this feed, right? That's
yeah. I'm going. Where is he? There's the Reba. Oh yeah, Dr. Odyssey.
I think you've frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
It's still working on my end if you're frozen.
There, now you're not frozen.
Perfect.
Yeah, we have the Dr. Odyssey. I saw a trailer for High Potential, which I don't know. I'm about that. It seemed a little bit like a Psych and something else, but I don't know. It just, I like the actress. I just don't know if this is the right role for her. But that's my only thought. Other than that, I mean, I'm excited, and I'm always excited for like a new show that doesn't really get any kind of flash at an upfront. It turns into a smash hit. So I'm excited for that. There was the show, and I thought that was pretty funny. That the actor the actor from Heroes is what they called him, Quinto. Is that how you say it?
Zachary Quinto.
Yeah, they go the Heroes grad Zachary Quinto, and I'm like, he is a movie star. Please.
Oh, yeah, isn't he in like
he's in all the Star Trek movies?
That's what it is. I was like, he did something big. Yeah.
And he's done a few other things. And they went back like 15 years and said Heroes. And I always thought that was weird. But he's in a new primetime drama, Brilliant Minds. He's returning, in Brilliant Minds. So that he was there, and that was funny.
That is funny.
Takeaway.
Yeah. And then this is the new Fox animation I think they're trying to push, since they're trying to get something going without Family Guy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was really hoping to hear something on Hulu for my favorite show on there, which was The Orville. So I don't know. I thought it was supposed to come back, and then it doesn't, and it takes like 2 to 3 years for them to make it a season. So it's a little heartbreaking every time I don't hear any words, but that's me being a nerd and loving that show. Anyway, I think that'll be it. I think that's it for us today.
For sure.
Thanks for watching. Yeah.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.